honestly, the only thing we know for sure that God told us is in the Bible.
Oh yeah.
They know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it.
Right, we in the field, just put it in work, we raising the bar. You tuned in to the Trackstarz.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Okay, so of course y'all know Ryan is out because they just had a baby, so they're taking care of that. First of all, happy anniversary to my awesome wife, Alfie Grant.
Yeah. Get it, man.
Shout out to her. So we're doing our show today. It's gonna be fun. We got T. Kyson in the building. Filling in for Ryan Righteous today. So how you been, man?
Good, bro. I'm happy now. If you know what happened last night, I'm great. The Warriors won last night.
Yeah, man.
I was excited, man.
Did you follow the basketball stuff?
A little bit. I was hoping for Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Why y'all generation love LeBron, man? They love LeBron.
Jordan, man. That's their Jordan.
I got to figure it out. It's like every young person I know, this guy at my job was betting people like, yo, LeBron going to win this. And I'm like, y'all know LeBron don't have nobody, but he got it. And I'm like, dude.
I just want to see him take the team on his back, you know?
Yeah.
Do it by himself.
He's not capable, though.
That may be true. You know?
But I mean, honestly, I think people knew Golden State was gonna win this when it was the finals. People were like, "Oh, Golden State's gonna win it." I mean, to the point where people didn't watch the finals that predicted like Golden State's gonna sweep them. I didn't think they was gonna sweep. I thought it was gonna be like a 5 or 6 situation.
I said 4 or 5, but it's really 4 because of LeBron. He gave up, man. He gave up, bro. Anyway,
but the Bay is popping right now. The Bay got it going on. They doing their thing in the Bay. So,
but speaking of champions, we got to talk about this one situation that just happened. So, if you've been following the gay wedding cake controversy,
how did you transition?
He won the case. I mean, for the win.
That's crazy.
Have you been following that?
I saw some I saw the news about it that the winner that he won that case. So I heard about it. I haven't been following it.
It's a tricky situation because I first of all, how do you feel? Do you feel like there was a victory for Christians?
I don't think it's hard, man. It's okay because even this week another thing came out. Where at a hardware store, the guy had a sign that said "No gays allowed."
Yeah,
and it was just like, you don't treat nobody like that, bro.
I'm nervous about that. Like
that went back to no colors.
Yeah,
allowed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you don't know, a gay couple walked into a bakery.
That's not a joke, okay?
And
it's really happened, people. We just letting this is not a joke. Go ahead.
No, they walked into the bakery and they asked for a wedding cake for their wedding. And the guy said, "Hey man, I just can't do that. I can't do it. You could buy whatever else you want. I just can't make a cake because he like paints his cakes and it takes a lot of care in it." He's basically saying, I'm an artist. Like you shouldn't be able to force me to make something that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Right? So they walked out and started tweeting and kind of got him in trouble. And so it went all the way up to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court took the case and they ruled 7-2 in his favor. 7-2? There's none of them, right? Yeah, 7-2. And saying that he can, but very, very narrow. Like he said, because he's an artist. It doesn't apply to like if you make shoes or jewelry or whatever else, right? So the question is that a victory, and who is it a victory for?
Oh, that's hard, man. It's hard. What do you think? What do you think? Who's that victory for? Is that for one of the state Christians, or what do you think?
It's kind of difficult, but I think the fact of him, like I feel like there's a difference between like big companies versus like something where you have like you can set your own thing.
Yeah, like a small mom and pop store.
Yeah, and I think yes is a victory for him because like he stands he stands by what he believes in, and he won on that behalf, and he doesn't have to force himself to do anything that he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna play it safe and say it's a victory for him, but it is I guess a little victory for Christians as well. You know, for kind of like him being the voice. Like being
I get
the voice.
what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
the representation of it.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna say this. I think if him as somebody, everybody has the right to do what they want to do under the law. So if I feel like I don't want to make a cake for two people because I believe marriage is between a man and a woman, you have that right. But also
you have that right.
You have the right, but
does
the
your
customer
business have the right?
Now that's a different story because I think that's the thing, because you ain't signing up to be like a nonprofit. You know what I mean? It's not like you're a nonprofit cake maker because you're a profit. You know what I mean? Because then that's discrimination. Mm-hmm. So that's a hard one, man. That's a hard one. That's very hard. I think, see, to me, to some people they'll be like, yeah, for Christians, like, yeah, we still have our liberties and stuff. But to me, it's just like, that's a hard one because it's like, I wouldn't want nobody. I want to go backwards because I can see where this can go to. You get what I mean? Like,
you're relating this to black stuff.
Yeah, because I can see it could go back to that. I can see it like, I don't want nobody that dressed like you in my store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I could discriminate against somebody, because you can't tell nobody, you can't tell if somebody is gay just by looking at them. You know what I mean? Unless if somebody's dressed a certain type of way, but just walking in with jeans, a shirt, and sneakers, you can't tell if that person's gay or not. You know what I mean? So I think it's just one of those things where if somebody can get away with that, what else can somebody who claims to be a Christian get away with? You know what I mean?
I understand that. Man, what makes this hard is, would you do it? If you were a baker and somebody came in and said,
I'm a DJ.
Make me a cake.
God, I knew my call.
Yeah, okay, boom. Yeah. So you're a DJ, right? You did my wedding. Who else did you do? Ryan?
I did, Ryan.
So if a gay couple came to you and said, can you DJ my wedding, what would you do?
I don't know. First off, I'm like, where did you guys hear me? Where did you hear about me? That's one. I know, that's all. Like, where did you hear me about me?
Yeah.
That's one. I don't know. I think that's a conversation that I would really pray about. Like, I'll pray about that. Like, God, help me with that. Like, what do you want me to do? Because, prime example, I was going to put this in the entertainment report. A young lady was on a soccer team for the U.S. national soccer team. She's a Christian. She found out that the jerseys was going to have like rainbow stuff, because of course June is national. What it's like, it's almost not a gay, but it's Pride Month. Okay, so the jersey was going to be Pride, and she was like, she prayed, and God was like, nope, don't represent America doing that, and she declined to be on a soccer team.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? So, and I read that recently, like a couple, and I think it happened like last week, but I read that story recently, and I was like, wow, she really stuck to her guns, because that kind of cost her opportunity to do it. For me personally, I don't know, man. It's easy for me to be like, no, because I'm on a Christian show, but then also it's like, what if that's a test? What if it's like, you really need the money? And it's like, God, what do you want? What do you want me to do in this situation? You know, I have bills. If I'm doing this full time, let's say I'm doing DJing full time. If I'm not doing it full time, if I have another job, then I'm like, well, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about money, but then also it's like, if you're providing, this is the way of income, then it's, I don't know. I think it's a hard question because it's easy to say no because I'm with a bunch of Christians, but then it's like, God, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do in this situation? Am I there to maybe talk to somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would you do if somebody told you, hey man, I need a videographer, or hey man, I need a spoken word? What would you do?
I think this is a little bit different than, okay, it depends on, am I allowed to say what I want to say? Am I allowed to play what I want to play? Am I allowed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
how much control do I have?
They tell you got whatever you do, we want you to do. We just want to hear it before at the practice, but you do you.
Then there may be an opportunity. I think what he's worried about, and which I think every Christian kind of struggles with, is what am I supporting? What am I co-signing?
Yeah.
And if I'm co-signing something that I think God would be upset about, what does that mean for me? Am I approving of this thing that I feel like God is against?
But what if it's like a family member then? What if it's somebody that you are like? That's easy for you to tell somebody that you don't know. Nah, we good. But what if somebody in your family is really close, like close to you, cousin, nephew, or whatever, and he's like, "Yo, Unc, I'm getting married. Can you do the photography?" And he's gay. Like, that's your family. How would you do that? Like,
I think that's probably the biggest dilemma for Christians in our time, is how to deal with that situation. To me, when it came up, it was like the perfect storm of, the unstoppable force, meaning the immovable object. Like, what happens when this happens? And wait a minute. I don't know if we have a playbook for this quite yet. When you say, what would Jesus do? What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
What would he do?
That's hard. I mean, because I think
there's examples of where you would probably think he would go.
Yeah.
Because of the situation with Nicodemus, is that his name? In the tree. You see what I'm talking about? When he went to that party and people were like, "Hey, how come you're going to this and that?"
Yeah.
There's parts of it where you would think he would go and would use it as an opportunity.
Are
right?
we scared of our brothers and sisters in Christ? That's what it seems like. What a lot of this is.
I think the theme of today is I think, and I can think of a lot more situations where I think we're more concerned with what Christians are going to say than what God is going to say.
Yeah.
Because I think if we admit, we honestly don't know what God is going to say.
Yeah.
So we base what God is going to say off of what our church is going to say, or the Christian hip hop is going to say, or whatever is going to say, and we compare that to what God would say. But I'm not sure. I think if you were honest and you were the last person on earth, I think a lot of things would be different.
But I think, like, what if God is giving you to go, and God giving you, me, He's giving me the songs. Hey, this is what I want you to play. Hey, this is what I want you to say. I want you to go, and He's giving you the green light to go.
Yeah.
Would you still be hesitant?
The only hard part about that, and I think it's Christians have a hard time admitting this for some reason, I have no idea why, is how do you know for sure?
Yeah.
I think everybody who says God told me this or told me that, at best, and this is probably a whole nother topic and I'll probably get blood, at best you're guessing. At best. Like,
if you heard an audible voice tell you, Sean, I want you to do your piece, I want you to show it in love, I want you to give the true definition of, not true definition, but just like give the purpose of a wedding, which is me and my bride. I want you to do that piece. He's saying this as you hear my voice.
I just want to know what percentage of Christians hear audible voices, not metaphorically. I mean, like, actually, like angel came into your room, stood there, you were fully awake. There's a witness. Like, how many? Like, what are we dealing with? Let's be honest.
But doesn't that take faith too?
That's fine. But a lot of us are talking about we feel like God wants us to do something.
Gotcha.
And we're just not being honest. We're saying God told me, but what we really mean is it feels like God is telling me, right? And I think what most Christians would say is, how do you know that He really told you to do that? How do you know that this isn't because you need money? Or how do you know this isn't because you just want to go and this is your friend or whatever?
I think the fruit of it would show. So, because, like, prime example, let's say the fruit of it was you did your piece, and then somebody came there who was like, let's say you did your piece, and somebody who was there was shacking up with a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they decided to get married because of your piece. And God said, I want you to go there because of that.
It's possible.
And their lives was changed. So would you kill that opportunity that changed somebody's life because you're scared of what Christians...
I just think there needs to be a bigger conversation on God told me and fruit.
Yeah.
A lot of that sounds like I of the beholder to me. Like, you may think you got some fruit out of this, and I may be like, where? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of what we say as definitive things in Christianity is a lot, like I'm sure there's going to be people on here and say, no, God told me this. No, I know for a fact, and I would say the same thing. I know for a fact God told me to start J-Dot and Trackstarz and all that. To me, between my prayer with God, it felt like boom, that's what He said to do, right? And I know a lot of people who say the same thing, but I'm an engineer, right? I went to school, math, science, things. You know, what are you really saying? What you're saying is, it feels like God told me this. It sounded like the thought that I had was from Him. Like we're kind of guessing a little bit.
I don't know,
right?
man. I don't know. I think you've had those people who had experience where they were in prayer, and God really spoke to their heart, spoke to their mind, or heard them. I mean, I'm thinking that
this is coming from somebody who believes super hard.
Yeah,
like, this ain't coming from doubt.
No,
I'm talking about.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'm just talking about the bit. Let's be honest about this, right? Because I hear too many people say God told me, and it's opposite things. So I'm like, wait a minute, God, which one? Which God? Like, what are you talking about? And I just feel like we use that so much. Honestly, the only thing we know for sure that God told us is in the Bible.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when I start hearing a little bit too much of God told me, I get nervous. I'm like, wait a minute.
But okay, let me ask you a question.
How do you know all this?
If God told you to start this and you did it, and somebody come to you and say, how do you know God told you to start this? And you say, well, we've seen people's lives change by doing this show. We show people's lives. The ministry of Trackstarz started because you was obedient to what God put in your heart to do.
Right.
So you can't.
Or like let me do this from God's point of view.
Or you just did it because you were talented at it and it worked out.
Let me do it from God's point of view. Maybe. Or maybe this is something secretly I wanted to do and God said I could use that. He's gonna do it anyway. He's not really listening to me, so I'm gonna use that, and it's gonna look like fruit, and it's gonna blah blah blah. But maybe he wasn't listening
This
that
turned
hard.
into something totally
It
different.
did, but it is based on the same dilemma, right?
Yeah.
So we ducked this whole stuff. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I fully believe that I heard right and I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But you could be
I
right.
think God is good enough.
Yeah.
That if I didn't hear right and I didn't do the right thing, He could still steer me right.
Yeah, but
see what I'm saying?
you could be good enough at your heart being so pure towards God that even if you're supposed to be a missionary, that this can get you into a place that God wanted you to go to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though you like, hey, maybe deep down you know I'm supposed to be in Japan somewhere preaching the gospel.
But I just want to, this is not like a lesson against hearing from God. I just want to be clear. Because I just hear it so often that I'm like, are we lying to ourselves? Like, is there a problem here that we're not talking about? You can feel like God told you to do something. You could go down the path and it could work out for you, and then you could say, God, I was right. Right? Yeah. You can do that if you want to.
Yeah.
It's possible that God could have been saying something totally different, and he just ended up using what you did. Like Jonah.
Yeah.
Jonah didn't listen to God, but he still used it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just feel like everybody has become an expert on listening to God, and I'm like, that's a gift. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if everybody got that one, you know? And there's a lot of people claiming it that I just don't know if that they got that.
But you can't when I say fruit, you can't deny, even if you want to do something kind of like what you just said, God is still getting glory out of that.
But here, okay, so and this is what I knew was coming. It has to be affirmed in His word. God affirmed it in the word. Okay, show me where God said, Sean David Grant, start Trackstarz Radio. I need you to do that.
Yeah.
The concept may be confirmed, but there's no way I can say the Bible told me to start Trackstarz.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm assuming that based on preach the gospel, make disciples, that lines up.
Yeah.
But I mean, He could have wanted me to do it a totally different way.
And you could tweak that too to make a scripture follow what you want to do.
And that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
can-
And when it comes to this gay marriage thing and everything, like, I believe we're doing the right thing, guys. You know, I believe we're on the right page. But I just get real nervous when people start being like having this attitude of, well, God said, and well, we're not supposed to. And it's like, wait a minute, like, are we really listening, or is this like a group think type thing happening where I think my pastor would like me saying this, or I think that this person over here would like me saying this. And are we just kind of like hyping each other up almost?
I think the glory of God in the Gospels, when you see Jesus at those places that people think he shouldn't be, he was there for a purpose. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that we could just go wherever we want to go and people's lives are going to change. I'm sure God could use us in those type of ways and have wisdom where you need to go. But at the same time, it's like sometimes we have to get out our own way and get out of the way of people's thoughts about us going to those places.
Yeah.
Because like I'm saying, like what if God, and I believe everything you write is from God. Like your especially spoken word, your raps. I know
I get into myself.
Your spoken words be like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like God was there. You know what I mean? Your raps too, but some songs you just gotta be like, it is what it is. But I'm joking. No, but I just thinking like spoken word is so powerful, and when it's used on a platform the way God like wanted to be used.
That's a great example.
You know what I mean? It's like you can't tell me like if he gives you something that you want to go up there and be like, man, and somebody's life has changed by what you said. I would, if God gave me the power to do spoken word and I can memorize the lyrics like that, I would be anywhere he tells me to go to. I don't care.
That's a great example because and there's probably and there's probably some signs too if you heard right or wrong.
Yeah.
I did not want to do that.
Yeah.
That's probably a good sign. Like if you're trying to rap and it's like you want to be a rapper, it's probably a bad sign. I don't want to get up on nobody's stage. I don't want to talk into a microphone. I don't want nobody to know my name. I didn't want I was shy. I don't want nobody to know nothing about me, right? Right. So the fact that God got me up on that stage, I know that ain't me. Yeah. The first time I got on Destination stage, I had on them big sweatpants, right? And my leg was shaking inside. That's why I wore them, because you can't see. Yeah. My leg was shaking inside of my sweatpants because I'm like, why are you having me up here? I don't want to do this. Yeah. So that's one sign when it's like it goes against everything you want to do.
But think about this. Imagine if you didn't do that. You wouldn't have been a leader of Destination. Yeah. You probably wouldn't have really met because you probably would have worked behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Who's to know if Ryan would have met you?
Yeah, because of that.
Yeah, and all this led to that.
That's a good way, 10 plus years later, to say I heard from God. Yeah, right. Yeah. But at the time, it makes sense. It feels right. But there's been a lot of people who it makes sense, feels right, and they make a mistake.
I think if God is leading you to do something, he's going to be with you while you do it. I think if you're bold enough to just like, yo, God told me to rap, or I hate using rap, but that's most likely
the easiest way because people like being on stage.
Yeah, so it's like if I'm rapping and I'm like, everybody just keep giving me praise and I'm soaking that up versus the kid who's like, man, God just give me some words. Let me hear what this is. And people come up to that kid like, yo, man, that changed me, dude. Dude, that's making me think twice about doing what. I'm saying that kid that's like, woe is me. I see like God being a vessel using him versus the kid that's like, abomatomically Socrates. You know what I mean? Like it's like
it's just from what I've witnessed. Like think about Moses.
Yeah.
Think about Jonah. Think about it's usually something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
He's like, I stutter. I don't want to go. I know you're already going to fix this, so I don't want to go. It's usually resistance to the call. You know what I mean?
That's even for the ladies. Like
I get nervous. I get nervous when people say things that they already wanted to say.
I get what you mean now.
Let's take it back.
Yeah.
People who already don't like gay people. Yeah. People who already think they're disgusting are like the first ones to be like, yeah, this is wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that wasn't hard for you to do.
And it's a mask, using Christianity as a mask, but you really hate.
And so the guy with no gays allowed, I don't believe God told him to put that up there, but he probably feels like he probably feels like I did it. I stood up to the liberal blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it's like, anytime somebody says something that I feel like he would have said anyway, I'm like, wait a minute. How do you know God told you that?
Yeah.
That feels too easy. Feels easy. What's the hardest thing to do right now?
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing to do? Maybe, possibly, is to go and then play Lecrae at their thing, or to go in and do a spoken word talking about the love of God and add. I don't know. I don't know what I would. Please, God, don't make me do that. But I don't know exactly what I would do. But it's usually the thing you don't want to do
Yeah.
that God pulls you into.
Yeah.
And I'm just nervous. I just hear too many people talking about this topic that they already look like they're happy saying what they're saying. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just don't know. Now, the guy who was involved in this seems like a great man. I think he was the best person to have to go through this because he seems genuine. He seems like he seems like he's saying everything a Christian would say. He's like, hey, I don't want any problems with you. I don't hate you. I'm not a part of whatever anybody said to you that was mean or disrespectful. I just personally can't do that. He even stopped selling wedding cakes to avoid the problem for a while. He was like, I love selling wedding cakes. I'll even stop doing that to avoid this problem. You could buy anything else in here. I just personally feel convicted if I did that.
So what was?
I feel like that was genuine.
What were they asking him to put on the cake? That
somebody said it was 2 figures of 2 men getting married, that kind of thing.
So what? So what would be the difference if they asked him to get those other cakes and then they just get the 2
and do it yourself?
Yeah.
Because here's more of the story. Some people feel like they purposefully
Did
went
that
in
on
there
purpose, yeah,
to target him.
And that's another thing too. I think that's what we're starting to see in America. You're having people purposely do stuff
you gotta
on purpose
be prepared
and be ready for
this. This is not about them. This is about you being prepared. This is about you thinking through this, figuring out what you would do, because anybody's job could get come for.
Yeah.
This could get come for, especially if you're for profit, even nonprofits. Everybody's going to get tested in this area at some point. This is the challenge of the new Christians, is to figure out this topic, and we have not done well so far. I'll just say that.
Now, even like I remember when I think Buchanan was gung ho about telling people to go to Chick-fil-A. Remember that? And then
some of it seems mean spirited.
Yeah.
It's like you may be saying the right thing, but your heart ain't right.
Yeah.
It's like a Pharisee type thing. It's like, you're doing the right things, but it just seems like it's coming from an evil place.
Yeah.
And it's like that you negate why I told you to do that in the first place when your heart isn't right about it.
Because I think because some of it, even from it don't even have a color. It's like some stuff is masked in like even with the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, like some of it's masked in like we got to stand for our flag, we got to do that, and it's like, but you doing a national anthem, you gonna get a hot dog, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna get other stuff, you gonna get you know what I mean, different things, and all I'm saying is like some stuff is masked as conservatism or Christian, and it's not Christian at all. It's just and
that's what I'm concerned about. It's this. I don't blame him for this because I listen to him and he sounds genuine, like as heck, right? Yeah. But I feel like other people with agendas latch on to things like this. Yeah. Trump, conservatives, whatever, latch on to it. Like, we got one. This is our thing, right? And even like getting Neil Gorsuch into the Supreme Court. People will say, hey, that's why we voted for Trump, because we got more conservative judges. Yeah. It was 7-2. Yeah. It would have been, what, 6-3? Like, it still would have won. Yeah. So I don't know if that validates that yet. So, but what I'm saying is that there seems to be a mean-spiritedness around Christianity that I think people may be surprised that the anger is going to be towards them.
What if it's more, and we heard a message last week about self-righteousness. What if it's self-righteousness? Maybe it's like I'm stopping you from like harming yourself, so you need to stop, and and it's like self-righteousness, like I'm trying to make you righteous, but I can't make you righteous. Right. There's nothing about me that is righteous without Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm asking, like, are we in that stage of the new quote-unquote Christian in America, is like just self-righteousness, where it's like I'm quote-unquote right, but I'm doing something in the dark, but I'm trying to make you right because I know that you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, this has nothing to do with the guy. I'm proud of how he handled it. I think he's doing a good job. It's the people around that guy. Yeah. It's the people the politicians. It's the lobbyists. Yeah. It's the billion-dollar companies that see these things as policy winners and political games and ways to denigrate people on the other side. Yeah. And I just, that kind of mean-spiritedness, it just don't feel right.
Honestly, it's mean-spirited on both sides.
It is.
Because you have people on the other side that's trying to like you. I'm just going this cake
I'm
shop.
gonna go to it
yeah.
to test them to show that the evilness of Christianity and all that
Yeah.
kind of. It's just, man, I'm just real tired of.
Sean, you need to find an island, just make a J-Dot island, and then we can all just travel to that island and live there. And the technology we own. It's almost like The Village. You remember The Village? It's like, if people want to get off, it's just them. But it's just, let's make an island with like-minded people.
I don't know. At some point, I don't know if you can avoid it. I mean, the devil's too busy. Like even good-hearted people, you're gonna pick off a few of them.
Yeah.
And then it grows and grows. I just think politics right now is full of people who aren't genuine.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't want to call my brother and sister. And if you are Republican, Democrat, and you act like this, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah.
And I just again, the guy in the situation, totally different. I'm more concerned about the voices on the outside, using this as a way to throw a grenade at the other side when we were called to extend a hand. I don't see a lot of that.
Yeah.
I see a lot of fists. And that just makes me nervous. But anyway, that was a long way to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, you're in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let go.
Hey guys, Miracle here. Thank you so much for watching that episode. Make sure you go below, like it, subscribe, click the bell, and make sure you follow us on all forms of our social media. Also, check out our website and be sure you spread the word. We'll see you next time.
We know not what we doing. Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in a lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up.
Team Freedom.
Yeah.
We not through yet.
All right.
Trackstarz Music presents.
Turn my volume up. Turn me off.